Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. I come every Friday and Sunday to talk about items that help us understand how to stay healthy, both mentally, physically, emotionally, well into our older years. And today I'm going to talk about the opposite or the other side of the coin. Last week I talked about proprioception. And so that's an external feeling of our body. And today I want to talk about interoception or interoception, which is a internal awareness of our body, which is really very key. Sometimes people say, I just don't feel like myself. And I guess that's interoception. Interoception. I have trouble saying these two words. I wish there was something that they could make that's less difficult. So please think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here every Friday and Sunday, or anytime, really. I love to have conversations about how we can do something daily to help ourselves stay healthy and mentally and physically strong well into our older years. Interoception, what is that? I think that this is the common signs or signals of your body that sometimes we think of as the hidden elements, or it's a hidden sense, or it's this internal feeling of physically how we are doing. And it's not like something external, like we talked about last week, where we know where we are in space, our balance, our vision, our hearing. It's not about that. It's about what's happening inside of us. Like we can hear our heartbeat if it's going too fast, or if you feel a sense of hunger or fullness. And then knowing that you need to maybe go to the bathroom because your bladder's full, or that you're feeling excited inside your stomach and feeling butterflies or anxious or nervous or scared. And then there's these issues of being thirsty or hot or cold or maybe just not feeling like yourself. Because interoception is linked to our physical regulation of our body and how we can maintain ourselves. Because it's very dangerous to be dehydrated as we get older. These are things that help us have emotional awareness so that we understand whether we're recognizing we anxious, are we nervous, do we want to achieve something. I think those are all things that we have to think about when we think about interoception. And I think often we don't give a whole lot of credit to the concepts of interoception. And I think for me, it's something we sometimes ignore because I think what we do are things like put off going to the bathroom or we forget to drink enough water. Those are the types of things that I think are difficult because we don't think about them. We think of them as afterthoughts. And that's why when we really think about self awareness, it's not just about how we're moving, it's really about having this sense of ourselves, our needs, our desires, our wants, and how that body of ours is communicating that to us. So it's very important that we understand how we can support the concept of interoception with our bodies and our wellness, because sometimes it is that feeling that you don't feel like yourself, which I think is a fascinating concept. And often, sometimes we as people in the medical field, we don't really know how to measure interoception except for these concrete things, such as thirst, hunger, pain, emotional awareness. All of these things are difficult to measure because I think they're quite unique. But what happens as we're aging, it can be really difficult because sometimes we don't pay attention because our sense of thirst is becoming weaker. So we have a higher risk of being dehydrated. Our sense of hunger or feeling full, it also can be dull and it's not as, I think, as aware as we are as we get older. And there's some unintended either weight loss, too much weight loss because you're not hungry, or there's a weight gain. So there are some issues as we get older about losing our appetite. And I think it's not just that. I think it's as we get older, it's difficult to think about our mind body practices. So, doing things that are mindful or breathing techniques or exercises that sharpen our internal awareness, such as feeling your pulse beat and taking breaths or counting them. I think that is a wonderful element of getting inside of those things that are internal to us. Because I don't think often that this is something that doctors really think about. I think there is this issue going on with our heart rate. Sometimes we do have spikes in our heart rate. Maybe when we're anxious, or if we've eaten too much sugar or drank too much alcohol, or there's this sense of, we don't feel a sense of wellness in our bodies because we maybe have some pain that won't go away, or it seems ever present and it's not easy. So it is very difficult to stay in touch with the internal self. And I think that's why meditation and mindfulness practices can be a huge benefit to help ourselves not only have a sense of proprioception, which is the balance and movement of our bodies in space, using vision and hearing and our connection to our limbs, there is this very important connection, interoception, that's internal. It's that feeling of knowing when we're hungry, that feeling of knowing that we're thirsty or that we're tired or in pain. So often we can disconnect from these things easily. Or as we get older, there's a sense of dullness that happens. And so it's so important that we make sure that we are being mindful of our heart, mindful of our breathing, mindful of how we are feeling, because loneliness is one of the biggest problems that's going on. And I wonder sometime if this isn't something that is a cumulative process as we get older. Is it something that because we're feeling a duller sense of social engagement because of a combination of our proprioception issues, like our hearing is getting dull, our vision is getting dull, our internal sense of hunger and thirst is feeling dull. So there's more of a need for us to, first of all, check in with our providers, at least go at least once a year, but also to check in with ourselves. The meditative practice is so beneficial because it is that opportunity, whether you're someone who feels comfortable meditating, or it can be simple, a quiet time of silence. Maybe you are someone who prefers to pray. Maybe you are someone who prefers to just be still and breathe or feel the pulse in your wrist. Those are some simple practices that we can do to become more attuned to what's happening to us internally. It's so important to stay in touch with our internal sense of self as well as our external sense of self, because it's the two that are working together that make us feel physically whole and well. And I think it all starts with a mindset, having a mindset of health and wellness, and seeking and being curious as we get older as to how we can support both our physical self and our internal self. So be well, my friends. We have this one precious life. Let's live it to the fullest and take every single day to do something that is going to promote your wellness into your much older years. Stay in touch. Let's connect. And maybe you'll think about subscribing if you haven't already. I would love to see you here every week, and let's engage in reminding ourselves, how can I be more in touch internally with what I am sensing in my body? I think that is so key for us to be healthy well into our older years. So I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. And please feel subscribe, like, share, all of those good things that we need to help support my channel continuing to grow. Take care and be well. Bye bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.